great to see everyone, as always. And some folks saw me yesterday, so I told them they'd get their fill. So, great to see all this buzz. Oh, be careful, Norm. It's jogging here. We have enough seats. I'm wondering what the parking lot looks like. I talked about parking yesterday. I'm wondering what the parking lot looks like right now with all these folks in here. We're grateful that you're here. A lot of different things to talk about today. Good things, a lot of good things that are happening. So I wanted to appreciate you all coming and being here. And again, as always, appreciate the buzz and the connection that's being made between folks. That's why we're here. So grateful to see that. And David, will you please open us up with prayer this afternoon?
I hope everyone's doing well today. If I look a little down, it's because I looked at the edition of tomorrow's Perks and realized I'm older than Lassie. And that just bummed me out. Two quick announcements is on Monday of this coming week, we'll have our pet memorial service, our annual pet memorial service. So if you or someone you know has lost a beloved pet in the last year or so, and would like to come and share some stories together with others, coming at 11 o'clock on Monday, and then on Wednesday of next week at 2 p.m., the memorial service for Pat Wilson, who passed away a few months ago. So we look forward to honoring her and celebrating her life then. So let's go to the Lord in prayer. Gracious and loving God, we come before you with hearts full of gratitude for the gift of this beautiful new day. Thank you for the sunshine, the gentle breeze, the chance to gather together in community once more. And in each face in this room, we see not just familiar friends, but we also see potential for new friendships yet to be formed. It's a blessing to walk this journey of life with others beside us. We thank you for the richness of the lives represented here, each individual bringing with them a lifetime of experience, of lessons learned, of stories worth sharing. May we never forget that, no matter our age, we still have a lot to offer to this community, to one another, and to the world around us. And Lord, while we acknowledge the realities of aging, we reject the idea that growing older means growing irrelevant. Instead, strengthen us with your wisdom, courage, and energy to do what we can while we can. As St. Francis encouraged, help us to start by doing what's necessary, then do what's possible, and suddenly we're doing the impossible. So free us, O Lord, from the restraints of I can't or I won't, and open our hearts and minds to live fully, joyfully, purposefully, and faithfully. On this day, we pause to remember and to honor those who lost their lives 24 years ago in a devastating act of terrorism. That dark day shook our nation, and yet even in the midst of that horror, we witnessed extraordinary acts of bravery and sacrifice. We remember those who ran toward danger to help others, and those who gave their lives so that others might live. And still today, though, we see how hatred, anger, fear, and division, impulses that precipitated that event on 9/11, continue to shape tragic moments, whether through injustice, through violence, so evident in a single day that brought both the murder of a prominent conservative influencer and yet another school shooting, or through the careless treatment of our fellow human beings, such as the unlawful detentions of fellow citizens being swept up in the deportation fever of our times. So we pray, Lord, help us examine our own hearts, make us instruments of peace and compassion. Let our words and actions be guided not by fear, but by love, compassion, and by wisdom. We're also thankful today for the signs of progress and hope that surround us, like the chapel taking final shape just across the hall, for new residents and those preparing to join us in phase 2, for improvements large and small being made throughout our community, for the blessings of shelter and delicious nourishment and meaningful activity and joyful fellowship that we enjoy. So be with us now as we share in the business and updates of our community. Bless each one who speaks, bless each one who listens, and bless each one who offers questions, because it's in this kind of exchange that we may grow stronger as a community and bound by care, respect, and mutual understanding. And may your blessing continue with us, not just in these moments, but in every day that lies ahead. And it's in your name that we pray. Amen.
Good afternoon. We have several updates from fund development. We've had a lot going on over the last 2 months. The first thing that was exciting was the Rolling Green Village Garden Club collected funds for daffodils as well as some other plants for the campus. And just in over 3 days, they raised over $3,015. So I'm going to ask that group if they will stand outside my office the next time and help me raise money. They've got a magic touch. On Saturday, October the 4th, is the Alzheimer's Association walk, annual walking. It will be, again, as Amy's told us, downtown Greenville. We have 2 buses that will be leaving Rolling Green Village, and I'm so excited that we do have several residents that have signed up to go, and it's still not too late to sign up if you would like to go and walk. If you don't want to walk the entire distance, you can wait at the Greenville Drive Stadium there. To raise funds for this event, we're selling t-shirts, which I guess you've seen those signs around campus. And this year, Emily Rossi, our wellness coordinator, she designed our t-shirt for us. So I think it's really cute. And some of the people that work in Evergreen Place decided to call it Guardians of Memory. So that's pretty special. And you can still get a t-shirt. On September the 19th, a week from tomorrow, we'll be having our annual pancake breakfast. We're asking for a minimum donation of $5. If you can give more, that would be wonderful. We're aiming to raise $5,000 this year, and we're right at $2,700, including the t-shirts and what we've raised off of the pancake breakfast so far. So if you can, donate some more. As David mentioned, the chapel is really coming up pretty fast. We are going to be having carpet going in next week, and the flowers, plants, and shrubs and trees are all going in next week as well. So we're very excited about that. We've raised almost a total of $750,000, and we still need around $250,000 to reach our goal. Over the summer, Rolling Green was very honored and fortunate to have an intern. And some of you may have seen Alex or met Alex in the dining room. And Alex is only, when he started with us, he was only 17. He aged to the ripe old age of 18 while he was here. And he's very talented in video and video production. So I asked him if he could create a video about the chapel. But what I wanted was, several months ago, we had a panel, and we didn't have a large turnout that day, but the panel did an excellent job. So we're going to show you his video today. It includes members from the chapel panel giving reasons why they think there's a need for a chapel here.
I think aging can be difficult. You have to deal with losing friends, losing family members. Many of the people here have moved from homes that they have lived in for most of their adult lives. You also lose some degree of your independence. As my dad used to say, growing old is not for sissies. So I think that it is important to have a chapel, a sanctuary, where people can go and deal with some of the difficult parts of aging.
Personally, a chapel would be a place where I can go and find peace. A place where my thoughts would not be interfered with the business of Early Green. We have a lovely community, and it takes a lot to run our community. With that being said, there are not many spaces in Rolling Green where you can reflect, and a chapel will allow that person, that family, just the space that you need to reflect.
So in the early 1970s, a group of local church leaders came together with the goal of establishing a community for seniors on the east side of Greenville. After about a decade of commitment, decade of challenges, they were able to move forward and open doors in early October of 1986. Since that point in time, Rolling Green Village has been a community that's focused on enhancing resident quality of life for residents 55 and older in a beautiful setting, secure, and focus again on helping those folks be healthier as they age. So the chapel came about after some significant internal discussion and a lot of experience from residents who, in a time of loss and in a time of struggle, didn't have a quiet, sacred space where they could go, pray, meditate, and be still. A long overdue space on a campus that focuses on spiritual wellness as a key piece of overall wellness for folks that reside here. So we're off to a great start with the chapel. In early June, we broke ground, and within a matter of weeks, we were able to go vertical. And to get to where we're at today, if you take a look at this recent footage, it's exciting to see the progress in just a few short weeks. And you can see where we're headed and how special this community is going to be.
Experience with the hall. It happened on a beautiful September day in 2013, the morning that my husband George died, and I thought there ought to be some other place where families could go together to, as we were going to cry, grieve, we were in shock, and I thought it the quiet place, but I always had heard that we were going to have a chapel one day. And now the chapel is being built. And for me and my family, we think of it as a blessing because of that day in September when we had to go into the hall. This way, families will have an option.
Sometimes when you're going through a change, I found with my residents and myself that you're not ready to talk to anybody yet. You want to process it yourself. And so the chapel will give a sacred space to do that.
I'm really excited about the chapel. I've been here for 8 years, and the conversation really revved up in the last few years, and the groundbreaking is happening right now, right outside my office. I'm excited to see the residents use it, the family members come in and use it, and I think it's a great thing. It's a great addition.
As a nonprofit, we're continuing to seek community support to move forward with this really important project. We do want to thank the generosity of current residents and staff for helping us to continue to work towards our fundraising goal. We're about 60% towards that goal of bringing a prayer chapel and prayer garden to our campus. But we still have a ways to go, and we want to ask the question of how you can help us continue to move forward towards that goal that will help enhance spiritual quality of life across the Rolling Green campus.
He did a good job, didn't he, as a young man. Any questions? Thank you.
Good afternoon. Today we are going to talk about the televisions in the Wellness Center. Some of you may know that we have removed the remote controls from the TV, from the Wellness Center gym, so that we can control what's being watched on the televisions. A couple weeks ago, Emily came to me and she said that she was being bombarded all day long by complaints of people not wanting to watch the news in the wellness gym. So, because I want to make sure Emily wants to continue to work here, I talked to Emily and Ryan, and we decided that we would try to take the remotes out. We could turn it on just some neutral channels like ESPN, Home and Garden channel, and a music channel. The music channel would remain, the volume would remain up, and then the other channels would be muted. I did run this by my resident activity discussion group. We met on a Friday. I think there were about 30 people here. I did run it by them. There were no complaints. There was no discussion. We implemented it on that next Monday, and Emily put a sign up, and then I put it in the highlights the next week. Turn my notes over. I wrote lots of notes down so I could remember what to say. Some questions and comments that I've received since that time, and I'm gonna go over those, and then you'll be free to, it'll be open to discussion if you have any questions or comments. One of them was, why don't you let the residents work this out themselves? We've tried this for over a year. It's only gotten worse. I know we've had times when people would be watching something and somebody else would come in and change the channel, and then that person who was watching the TV went back and changed the channel, so it was kind of like a fight over the remote control and changing the channels back and forth. We don't want that to happen. I have people telling me that we're taking their rights away. I did let people know that you're welcome to bring any other device that you would like in the gym to watch whatever you want to watch with headphones. And if you need help setting up headphones, I will be more than happy to help you do that. Also, if you go to any gym in America, it's run the same way. You have TVs that are turned on certain channels. It's turned down where you can see the closed caption. And they have music playing. It may not be the music you like, which is why I take my headphones and I listen to my music. A few people are ruining it for everyone. The Wellness Center is designed to be a calm, uplifting place where everyone can relax, exercise, and enjoy time together. I've had several residents who have called me thanking me for doing this, or thanking us for doing this, because they never said a word about it. They never complained. They just quit coming to the gym. And that really made me sad to think that people don't feel comfortable coming to the gym, because I don't think anybody in here wants to listen to things they don't agree with, right? I mean, I think it makes everybody upset to listen to things, especially these days on the news, no matter what side you're on. You don't want to listen to things you don't want to hear. One of the things that I think we're going to change slightly is that we are going to put a piece of paper in the gym where people can write down what channels they might want to watch on muted on closed caption other than the news. Okay, so you're free to write down whatever channel you might want to have on the TV. We can make a schedule if that would help. Also the same with the music. You can write down what music channel you want to listen to and we can have a schedule. But right now, and I've also been told you can't please all the people all the time. And I understand that, believe me. But I'm trying to be fair, okay? That's my objective, and all of our objective is to be fair. So if anybody has any questions or comments, or if Ryan wants to say anything, y'all are free to do so.
I just wanted to jump in. I want folks to know we didn't make this decision very lightly. I think Amy's done a great job of handling it. We really do want to focus on people being able to come to the gym and not have a lot of, you could say, negativity at times, which is what a lot of the news is nowadays. And it's highly political, and politics are sensitive, as you can see from yesterday, with what happened out in Utah. So, we want to make sure that the gym is used for exercise rather than entertainment, and we want to make sure it's a place that everybody can feel welcome and be present. So there was just a lot of discussions. There was a bunch of emails back and forth this week, and I told Amy I would come up here with her, and we would talk through, and we would lead with that, and just see what other concerns folks have. We do want to make sure that folks feel welcome, and we do have Wi-Fi downstairs. You can turn on your own device. You can watch whatever you want with the headphones, but just understanding we do live in community, and understanding that we don't make this decision lightly. We're not here to make policies and to be like this, but unfortunately we did feel like we had to step in and just kind of create a different feel. And this may not be forever, but it's for right now, and we'll be reapproaching it in the future. So, any questions?
Well, I think what you did was fine. I was just saying that it sounds like a great solution. You want things to be calm and pleasant, and so you get sports and you get music and you get house and garden. And actually, to do the new idea just muddies the waters. Don't give anybody any input into it.
No one else?
I like the music.
Okay, good. Just a few other things, because my nerves are a little shot right now, but no, I'm just kidding. Bill Vickery will be coming in November to teach an iPhone class. There will be a charge. He charges $100 per person. Yes, for this iPhone class. It's six sessions. He likes to do them. 1 week he'll do three sessions in consecutive days. So I think it's like the 12th, 13th, and 14th. I don't know the exact dates, but it's something like that. And then the 17th, 18th, 19th. But he'll do them in consecutive days. So I decided not to charge the whole $100, so we will pay for some of it. So if you do sign up for the class, we would charge $60, so it would be $10 per class. Just to the resident, we would cover the other $40. So that'll be coming up in November. He's also going to do a tech talk class. It's not really a class, it's a drop-in. He'll be up in the piano lounge. You can bring your devices up there if you have any questions or if you're having any problems. He can do iPhones, laptops, and iPads. And then also we're going to start a new watercolor class the first Saturday of each month. It'll be starting October the 4th. I think it's the 3rd or 4th, whatever that first Saturday is. And one of the housekeepers that works here, she's also an artist. And so she's going to come and teach the class. So I was really excited about that. But all levels are welcome. So that'll be something, you'll see it in the highlights this week. Does anybody have any questions about anything else? All right, thank you.
Amy really did a great job, and she gave me all the talking points there. I think she's handled a lot of our current situation pretty well. So thank you, Amy, as always. I have a lot of things to cover, so I'm going to try to move quickly. I know I kind of moved quickly already. One thing I don't have on the slides, I'm actively working through 2 situations with residents where they have been scammed via either the internet or telephone. So I really would encourage you all, you know, if you create a relationship via telephone or over the internet, you know, it's just concerning people sending money, you know, thousands of dollars to someone that they feel they have a connection with, and it's just, it's been hard to kind of to watch and to see. So each situation is a little bit different, but just be mindful, you know, when somebody just randomly calls you and they create this, they want to have a relationship, and then some of the requests is for you to send money to pay for something that they need, you know. Just be careful, because we've seen 2 of them, and I think it's going to continue. So just really kind of talk to people that you know and trust, and question that if you were to be in that situation, people just randomly calling. So I don't want to go into all the details, but it is a little bit concerning, and if you guys can just be mindful so we don't have another situation pop up there, but they've been kind of hard to walk alongside. So if you want to jump in, I want to spend a good amount of time talking about some capital improvement projects we have coming up. So at the end of this, I'm going to give you a handout, but for right now, we're going to run through and talk through them. We're finally here. I know we've been talking about it for a while, that the Lakeside Shoreline and the Hoke-Smith Boulevard sidewalk projects are going to get started. So after a lot of due diligence, we're planning to get started with them. Strange Brothers is the name of the contractor that's going to be helping us, kind of the project manager. So we are going to experience some temporary changes, sidewalks, roadways. We're going to talk through, I'm going to show you some maps, but it's going to be some inconvenience, nothing like construction for phase 2, but there's going to be some inconvenience coming up, and starting on September 22nd. So we're about 11 days away from the starting point. You want to go to the next slide? So I wanted to stress this and even read this out loud. We want to make sure you all understand what to expect in the coming weeks. We're hopeful to have the projects completed September, October. It might trickle into a little bit of November. We're just going to have to see what the weather looks like. So this visual here, wanted to just orient folks. The big body of water there, that's Smith's Lake, Shannon Lake. And then we have the overview of the entire campus actually. So we'll keep moving forward. The Lakeside Shoreline project is going to start first. We're going to have a tree company come in and remove trees along Hoke-Smith. The reason why we need to do that, those trees are closest to Hoke-Smith Boulevard. They also have tree roots that are growing up into the driveway, which we need to correct. That's the second project. But the trees are also going to allow us to better access the space that we need to build a new retaining wall. So I want to show you the next slide. If you can hold on to the questions, we'll definitely jump into them. So this is the next slide, highlighting what that first area is going to be, where there's going to be tree removal. Keep going. We wanted to also show you all some of the boundary lines. We've had them resurveyed in recent weeks. You know, a couple of years ago we had them surveyed. If you want to keep moving along. So we're making sure that these are on the RGV side of Hoke-Smith in that space. Keep going along. This is the second area, so there is going to be some additional trees away from that space that are going to be removed, and those are largely sweet gum trees. Does anybody have those in their backyard? So we feel that it's important. They do create a lot of issues, particularly safety issues for residents that are walking along that sidewalk. So we have made the decision to, while we have the equipment here, to work on that other area to also remove those sweet gum trees along that space that's highlighted in green. And this is a pretty good overview, and we're going to give you a copy of this to kind of highlight the areas that we're going to be working that are going to be impacted. So the Lakeside Shoreline is the first project that's also going to include the sidewalk over the dam. Between the two waterways, that sidewalk is going to be replaced and made 5 foot, made more accessible. We've also got to bring in some irrigation underneath that sidewalk to make sure that the new plantings that we have are going to stay alive. And then the Hoaxmith curb and gutter sidewalk area would be next. So the next slide here, so after the tree removal, there's going to be sidewalk removal in Lakeside. This is the sidewalk that deteriorated, so there's going to be debris removal there. We're planning to put in a retaining wall. We've secured easements from a handful of residents in Lakeside. The retaining wall is going to go, I believe it's from 4 feet stacked walking down to 2, or from 3 feet down to 1. So it's going to kind of be on the high side at the beginning and then kind of staggered down. And that's to secure the sloped area there. And then that area is going to allow it to be grown natural. So we're not going to be putting back a sidewalk in that space. But the sidewalk will be improved between the waterways, between the Middle Pond and also the Shannon Lake over the dam that will walk from Lakeside to the RGV Wellness Center. To answer your question, June, are we going to be putting anything back? So we are. We do have a landscape plan, and it was created in the area between Hoaxmith and the Middle Pond to be installed during this project. So we did work closely with Holly Owings with Earth Design. We also had a small number of RGV residents helped us create the landscaping plan. So we do have it here. It's going to be smaller to view, but we can get it blown up for you. Go ahead. We are planting 8 trees back, but this is a plan that will run along the sidewalk. So the top part here is the Hoaxmith Boulevard, and then the sidewalk that's currently there will be replaced, and the landscaping is going to go along that sidewalk. So again, Hoaxmith Boulevard at the top, and then that slope comes down towards Lakeside. We're going to be replacing that sidewalk and putting in landscaping next to it. These are trees here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I think I might have missed one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there is going to be a total of 8 trees that are planted back on that, in that area. So keep moving along. So once that project is done, that project will include, like I said, the sidewalk. That's going to be probably the most restrictive as far as sidewalks, particularly for folks that are used to walking along there. That sidewalk will be completely shut down during that project. Then the second project will occur, which is going to be the tree roots that are growing up through Hoaxmith on the pavement. They're going to be cut out, and the roadway is going to be patched. And we're going to put in a new sidewalk that runs from the first stop sign all the way through along Hoaxmith to the second stop sign. There'll be curb and guttering there as well, which is going to help out with some of the water issues that we have running down that area. But the new Hoaxmith sidewalk, we feel strongly, is going to significantly enhance resident safety and resident connection. So folks that live in Woodside and Lakeside are going to be able to walk along Hoaxmith from the stop sign all the way up to the Commons. Right now there's not a sidewalk in that space, but we do feel like that's important as we're doing this project. We knew we had to take out the tree roots to increase connection for not just those folks, but for anybody. I see a lot more people walking on campus. We want to encourage that. So adding additional sidewalk is going to be a good thing to meet that goal. I'm going to keep moving along. So this will show you, again, the areas that we're looking at. So this is one of the big things too. During the time that they're putting in the sidewalk and they're fixing the pavement, they're going to have to shut down the outbound lane of Hoaxmith Boulevard. So everybody can come in, but you are not going to be able to go out while that equipment is there, while that project is going on. We're hopeful to just initially have it shut down while equipment is there, particularly for the trees during the day. And then at night, hopefully that equipment can be moved and we can still allow access to the road. But there are going to be barricades put up. We're not just going to put up tape that people can move. We're not going to be able to use the grass median because of weather issues. We don't want to create issues with people trying to go the same direction. So again, people can come into the village, but if you're leaving, you are going to have to utilize the back gate. That would include for folks that live at Lakeside and folks that live at Woodside. They have to go around a bunch of right turns to get back home, unfortunately. So we are going to require folks to exit campus through the back gate during that time. We're going to keep the back gate open during that time as well. At night, we're not going to be closing it because of the need for folks to go out around that way. So we're going to do all that we can to reduce the amount of time that Hoke Smith Boulevard is closed. So we are sorry for the inconvenience, and we do know that this is going to impact everyone. So this next picture also kind of shows the area. Temporary closure. And the next slide. Okay. And then Skip, would you guys mind passing out the sheets there? We've got something we wanted to hand to you, so that's a lot to absorb. So we put it in writing. I actually got, it's kind of neat, I'll share with you. Has anybody heard of Copilot? Yep. Copilot, Microsoft Copilot? So that's an AI tool that Microsoft has. So I took the presentation that I just read off to you kind of quickly. I plugged it into Microsoft Copilot and I asked it to summarize the key points. So that first page right there is actually a Copilot summary of the presentation and putting it in bullet points. So I wanted to summarize what we just talked about and then also provide you all with a map that kind of shows you the spaces that are going to be impacted. We'll also be posting this to the resident portal to make sure folks have a chance to see it. I don't believe that the road is going to be shut down on the 22nd, so the road is not going to be shut down then, but the tree work will start on that day, and then we're going to have to take it one day at a time. I anticipate continued communication via one call now, but then also putting things in writing to let you know where we are. You know, I've been intentional with Skip, and particularly to make sure we stress with Strange Brothers that we can't have significant delays between the projects. We want to have the equipment here and then not have this a 5-day gap where there's no activity. Unless there's a weather issue, that's understandable, but we want to make sure that we can stay efficiently to minimize the disruption to folks. So that's a key piece of this. So I want to see if there's any questions that folks have. We've got a microphone here.
I just wanted to know if the sidewalks were going to be wider than the current ones.
They're going to be 5-foot sidewalks. We're trying to get to a standard of 5 feet. So like the one that runs along Hoke Smith that comes up to the Commons, that's 5 feet. Like the one that goes back by the cottages going down the hill, it's 5 feet. So yes, they're going to be standardized 5 feet. Who has the next question? Hannah, our administrator in training, is going to help bring it around to you all.
You notice she's a lot faster than I am.
Are there going to be more trees planted along Hoke Smith beyond that path down to the lake?
We may do that in the future. You know, I think folks have heard we were working with a company called Upstate Trees. For now, we have this plan. We want to see what it looks like and get a feel for it. So now we have those trees that are going to be planted. But yes, we can replant in the future. We do want to be mindful of not putting plants or trees too close to roads and too close to foundations. But we will continue to monitor that. I think we want to see what it looks like, put in this original landscaping plan, and then we're open to making adjustments in the future.
We just, in the summertime, we really need some shade there when we walk. Very hot without the shade.
Mm-hmm. So we will definitely look at it as we kind of get a feel for what it's going to be like.
I just want to know, what time does the gate currently close?
It's supposed to be 10 o'clock p.m. Yes. Other questions that folks have about this? So these two projects are going to kind of be back to back.
I have a lot of people that visit me in the evening. Will those gates be carefully marked, brightly marked?
Well, the gate in the back does have yellow. Some of it's fading, but the barricades will be, yeah. That's something that we'll have up to block that area, and we'll have signage before you get to the barricades. But we just don't want to have a situation where people move the cones or move the signs and just drive through. So we'll be more heavier barricades that do make sure that folks know you can't come this way. And we'll put a sign to make sure folks know they'll need to turn around during that period of time. So again, we're hopeful September, October, November to have it from start to finish, but it will kind of depend upon weather. What other questions do y'all have? If you have other questions, I'm happy to answer them later. let's keep moving along. I got a few more things I'm going to run through. I did get the financials just completed last night from Sean. She's been working really hard. We did have a good month. Our operating revenues exceeded our plan by about $62,000. We did have a little bit of some higher operating expenses, but we did make a positive net operating income of actual of $245,000, which is about right around $18,000 above what we had planned. We continue to operate about 93% occupancy in independent living, which is great. Assisted living also has good occupancy numbers, and the house center continues to kind of exceed what we had planned for the year. So that is good. On the expense side, we did have a little bit of a higher electric bill because of the temperatures. We are seeing increasing some technology fees, software fees that are a little bit higher. But overall, we're doing pretty well to stay close to what we had targeted, and then to achieve our net operating income. So anything we make in excess of our expenses goes back into the organization. So that's great. So continue to be in a positive light. Judy talked about the chapel. It feels like it's going to finish in October, maybe not beginning of November. So we're still looking really good there. Talked about the lakeside shoreline and also the Hoaxmill sidewalk. These are things we have been talking about for an extended period of time. Go to the next. The Village Green Courtyard. We've kind of put that on hold a little bit for right now. We just got a lot of projects that are happening. We did get a quote for the work to be done in the courtyard. We want to start that project in 26. We want to finish some of these other projects that we have right now. But we do want to start that project at the beginning of 2026, which is only 4 months away. But we are going to continue to move forward with the plans, but we just have a lot of things we got to finish before that. Correct. The Evergreen Place, I was going to talk about that next. So the Middle Pond plantings, we were talking about that before. That's part of the Hoaxmill sidewalk plan. And then the next slide. Evergreen Place continues to move forward. We're waiting on cabinetry, some countertops, a little bit of tile work that needs to be installed. We might have to repaint a little bit. So there's just those finishing touches. It's kind of hanging out there a little longer than we want. Maven Construction is a part of that team. They're actively working to finalize it. Each day we're kind of curious to see who is here and how they get it finalized. They had planned to finish it beginning of September. We're in the second week of September, so I think they planned for their crew to be somewhere else. So now how do you encourage more of them to come back and put the finishing touches on? So I know Hannah was talking to Maven today. They will follow through. We've not paid them completely for everything. So there's things that you do to make sure. We're not trying to take advantage of anyone. We just need to make sure what we said we were going to do that we finish. So there's just a few loose ends that we've got to tie up, and we're planning to do that hopefully in the next few weeks. But the cabinetry is going to be, I believe, the end of September. The artwork is already in, the furniture is in, and it is coming together really nicely. We're waiting on a fireplace and a mantle. So there's a few little loose ends that we're trying to finish up, but it's going to look really nice, and we will hold an open house. So residents and families and former family members of residents can come back and see. It really feels nice. Next, phase 2. We're at 85 sales as of today. We have decided to change the scope a little bit from 128 to 116, so we removed one carriage home structure. That's a 12-unit building, because we have not seen the same degree of sales like the cottages or the apartments. We're still going to build 2 of them, but it also kind of helped us lower the goal that we have to achieve the sales mark, allows us to maintain track with timing for these 85 people that want to be here tomorrow. We didn't want to say, hey, we're going to wait 6 more months to get to that number that we need. So we felt like it was more important to move forward, to continue to keep our time frames that we have with them, and with the goal of hopefully finding a way to finish the project by the end of 27. So we're still looking at 2 years out. But all the construction numbers have come in, they look pretty good. We talked about it yesterday if folks were here. We didn't have a bunch of folks here yesterday, but we will be posting the presentation to the portal so you all can see. But we do continue to have really good positive momentum. There was a presentation to the board yesterday for them to think through all the dynamics of the project, and there'll be a vote next week. So there's a lot of information to absorb with the goal of voting of saying yes or no to move forward next Tuesday. So we do feel positive that we'll be moving forward. The goal would be to get the final decision next week, to look at financing in November, and look at starting construction in maybe December. But all those things are still to be determined. The last thing, resident satisfaction survey. You all will get a flyer tomorrow in your highlights, and we're looking forward to delivering them to you all. A couple years ago, you might remember we knocked on doors and hand delivered them. It seemed to work, so we're going to do that again. We're going to use some golf carts to get out into the community to hand those satisfaction surveys out. We really do want your feedback. It's facilitated through a third party called SendSite. We really do appreciate the opportunity to hear from you and see what we're doing well and maybe what areas are that we can improve. If you fill out the survey, I think you've seen the flyer, you get 10 points of a meal, you could say, in our dining room. And there's also going to be a ticket that you get for a grand prize somebody will win for going on one of our trips that RGV will cover. So we do appreciate you taking the time to share what you think about living here. We do this every other year. So every year we survey someone. Last year we surveyed staff, and then this year we surveyed residents. And we kind of have that alternating pattern to make sure that we're taking care of our customers. We have you all as customers, but we also have staff that are customers, even more so now, thanks to the COVID pandemic. Just finding and keeping great people is a challenge, and we want to make sure we hear from them. So that was it. I was trying to run through and open up to questions that folks have. I have about 10 minutes. See what questions folks have. I know I got an email about the dumpster out back. We did get it finally emptied. The recycling dumpster was overflowing. We do ask if it's overflowing to not put a bunch of stuff next to it. There is a construction dumpster that was available, but for some reason a couple residents just went ahead and piled their cardboard there. The guy that picked up the recycling did not get out of the truck and put it in the recycling bin. But it was cleared out this week. I know that I talked to Amy and Judy about it. So it is, it's better now, but it was something that came up over the last week as well. Pat, what do you have for us?
Well, Ryan, this is one of your favorite topics that came up yesterday at the first of the Phase 2 meetings. And I wanted to share concerns that were brought up at that meeting with the group of residents as a whole. Mm-hmm. And that is that if you look at the plans of Phase 2 and the parking that will be available level with and proximal to the wellness center, it appears that this is woefully inadequate to meet the needs of people who go to the wellness center for physical therapy, to the clinic, to the pool or their exercise room for either just exercise or rehabilitative types of issues. And so right now, if you look at the diagram, the best I can see is maybe there would be room for 3 handicap spots. And you pointed out, well, we need to look at these diagrams in more detail. But it looks like if there may be 3 spots right where there may be 3 cars already right outside PT, then the next closest parking would be, it looks like on the diagram, across the Hoke Smith, where Hoke Smith comes and then begins to wander through the parking lot down there. So these would be, you would cross the Hoke Smith, you would park, cross Hoke Smith, and then go up the hill to the wellness center on your walker or whatever for physical therapy. And so this is awkward, and hazardous and painful for many people. And so the current plans, I request, be given much more critical assessment, and that there may be every effort to improve the situation to provide adequate parking for that facility. This is a very important facility and area for all the residents in this community.
And I appreciate you bringing that up. I want you to know that when we have opportunities to get together, I do spend time, we're listening, first off, we hear you. And I spent time reflecting upon yesterday's experience, and I do think parking is my big takeaway, that we have to spend more time and study and truly help you all understand the current state for parking in that space, which is going to be tight, particularly during construction, and then what the future plans are. So we will be going back. I'm going to work with our architecture team that has the schematic design, and also work with our engineer to understand exactly how many spots are there currently, and then what it's going to look like when it's completed. So I agree with you, we've got to study it. We are taking away a good amount of parking back here to create the assisted living, and that's the driving force behind the project, is assisted living. We did feel strongly that this space would bring it closer to the kitchen, closer to generator, closer to the amenities that are over there. And we know that parking is gonna change. There will be additional parking added. So we just need to study it, and we can spend more time talking about where that is gonna be.
Yeah, so thank you for your attention and willingness to give this serious consideration.
Yes, we will. We will. We'll visit, and we'll kind of talk through where we're planning to go. It's parking is a big topic here lately.
Has any thought ever been given to a shuttle for the workers? Because most of the parking is workers, and we could have a shuttle at come time, 9 o'clock, whatever time that is, free when they get off of work, and then that would take care of the daytime. I don't know where you would put that, but I think it might be a good idea, because most of the parking is workers back here.
Yeah, so we are going to be moving the folks that are parking back here towards the wood shop area, the furthest spots away. There is parking that's available back there. There's also parking that's available towards the front of Common. That's where I park every day. There's plenty of spots, but we are going to need to have everybody go. There's a song, to the left, to the left. Everybody's going to shift to the left. Everybody go to the left. So they'll be moving from this direction out that way, the furthest spots. We want to keep the closest spots for residents and for visitors.
I understand that. There are times during the day when there aren't any further spots toward the wood shop or whatever you're talking about. There are times when those parking lots are full.
I think that's kind of rare. We do have Greenville Tech that parks out there sometimes, so maybe there's a few more parking that's taken, but they're not here every day.
And the Commons is also, there's very little handicap parking there, and that's very far from parking to the dining room.
You know, so in light of a lot of the parking questions, I've not done it yet because we've been a pretty full week, but I'm gonna spend some time and go through, you know, an understanding of our parking situation here, and sharing some numbers with you, and sharing what we have, and talking through what will eventually come, because there will be additional parking that's added. The other option that we have, if we determine that we want to, when we actually move all the residents from the current Cedars to the new building, that space is going to be flat, and that space could be some additional parking that's added if we determine through this assessment that we need it.
That brings up another question we haven't talked about. Where are the assisted living visitors and people going to park when they come?
There's gonna be a new parking lot out there. We showed it. I don't know if Lindsay can pull up the presentation from yesterday, but we did share a couple of different aerials of that to show. And I think Lucas did point out yesterday that some of that may be slightly outdated, as there's a lot that kind of does change throughout the design process. But there will be some additional parking added in front of assisted living. There will be some additional parking that's added outside of rehab. And there will be additional parking that's added in the village center. The ambulance entrance that we have now, this comes down the hill, is going to go away, and the drive will be contiguous from from Hoke Smith down the hill to the front door of the village center. We talked about yesterday as well. So we will be talking further and kind of helping you all understand what it will look like in the future. But while construction is happening, while the fences are up, like we saw here with the chapel, there's going to be quite a bit of stress to parking during that time. Clancy and Faze, the folks that are helping us with the chapel, are going to help us with phase 2. I do think at times they parked a little too close to the chapel. The blue truck you can't miss. We got to get Fig to move his truck out a little bit. You know, they said, well, they got equipment on their truck. They got to make sure they can get to it. They don't want to walk for the distances, but we really want a lot of the construction workers to park in a separate setting. Don, what you have?
Well, there's one other thing, and that is that a lot of the vendors that work here, our yard people and so forth, they park their trucks and trailers in that parking space right now. So I would presume there'll be a new place that they can park in. They don't have to be that close, and could move them out, and that would really help.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to do some continued education with the vendors. We also have folks come from hospice and home health often. As the healthcare center is more full, we're getting more people that are coming to visit folks in those areas. We're also, with some activity spaces here, we're encouraging you all to come up here more. With the Palmetto Conference Room being converted to an activity space, a lot of folks are coming up for that. So this will show you kind of where the assisted living is. There is parking that's going to disappear here. There's additional parking here. This is not going to be for staff. This is going to be for residents here. And I envision also for folks that walk over there. But this is going to be a new parking lot that's added coming out this way. And folks can see that. It's not as close to the wellness center as folks may want, but we're going to do some study to show folks where they're at. We could not put the building up against the building here. There has to be a fire code and ability for the fire engine to be able to access an interior courtyard. So it would have been nice if the building could just have been butted up against the back of the current building. But unfortunately we couldn't do that. So we had to create this breezeway that does cut into how much space we have that's at the front of the building that could have been for a little bit more parking. We are going to also be moving the dumpsters, which I talked about yesterday as well. That creates another challenge. The dumpsters are going to be moved back over in this direction here, behind the rehab and the health center area. There's no great place to put garbage. You don't want it too far away. You don't want it at your front door. We talked a little bit about that yesterday too. But that will be one of the first things that happens, and that's where most of the deliveries will happen, because right now the deliveries happen near wellness for food and supplies, but now it's going to have to shift. It does help because not everything's going to have to go up an elevator, but these are some of the plans and some of the design things we've been working through over the last couple of years. But we will, to your point, Pat, we will be studying, and we need to spend more time and communicate what it's going to look like. And we do have some flexibility. You know, we could look at some additional parking here. As I talked about yesterday, we need to find balance in green spaces. People don't move, I don't think, to communities that fall in love with all the parking lots that the place has. Look at all that concrete. I love the concrete. No one said that. They say, look at all the green space, look at the trees, look at the water. So we have to find a balance in that as we move forward. Jimmy?
I think that's a very fair comment, and in line with that, one of the things you might try to encourage is people to walk more, and by doing so, I would suggest maybe you have some more benches where people can stop, or maybe, you know, just different, like where they're not sidewalks, or the sidewalks are very narrow, where there's juniper bushes that are cutting across the sidewalk.
Yeah.
You might look at some of those kinds of things.
Yeah, particularly, I think it's a great idea, and that's why we're doing the extended sidewalk towards Hoke Smith. That's why we're widening the one across the dam to make it 5 feet. And as we're having some of these projects, we're trying to add a little extra and increase that connectivity.
Benches would help.
And benches, yeah, we can definitely do that. I think Judy's already got a couple of extra benches coming, right? How many? 3? Is it 3, Skip, or 4? 4? So we have 4 additional benches that have been purchased that will be sprinkled throughout the campus as well, coming up. Who has the next question? Terry.
This issue has been brought up before, and I'm gonna bring it up one more time, but it's not anything to do with parking or sidewalks, so you can be happy about that. But is there a way to redirect the cool air in the dining room? I guess you know what, I mean, you had a significant response to that question,
Yeah.
so it is very frustrating, and it's hard for your for the people that are working there too, as servers, because sometimes we reach the point where we're not gonna sit there. It's too cold, we're not gonna sit there, and there are other people who do the same thing.
And I think it's exacerbated, particularly at the change of seasons right now, where
It's
it's
been
in
that
the
way all
70s.
summer. No, it's been there all the time.
Okay. Yeah, we can definitely, we're working with Jennings still. We've got an issue right now in the back of the kitchen to where the air conditioning doesn't work the right way. And that whole system has not been ideal. So we do have continued work. We've evaluated with Jennings still to look at the back of the house for the air conditioning, because while it was 90 degrees outside, it was also 90 degrees almost in there. And we've got to fix that. So we do have a plan for that, and as we make those adjustments, we're going to continue to look at it. Try not to do anything, major structural as far as, how that's set up. It's pretty extensive to rework everything, but we are going to continue to look at that.
Can the temperature be regulated?
The temperature is regulated, yes, but again, as it's in certain zones and in certain areas, it's supposed to be plus or minus the same consistently, but depending upon where you're at, it does vary. But we will continue to look at it.
Ryan, just to add to that, to me, there's got to be somebody in town that can come out here and take a look at our design on how it is being handled in that room. I mean, it's just freezing at one end of the bed. We've never seen the fireplace on. We could turn that on and have that regulated. So certainly there is somebody we could go to come out here and say, hey, your system's all messed up, but you can do it. And here's what you need to do, and take some action.
Yeah.
I just really think we need to do it. So many people go in there, like right now, it's 90 degrees out here, but I'm gonna go eat.
Yeah.
And I got all this on so I can stay warm.
Yep.
So I challenge you to do this.
We'll revisit it, yes. We will revisit
Say
it.
you're very positive to you being a part of the E-building. We have got 8 new beautiful decks. We came back this this summer, and they're all completed. Those of you that don't look at the back side of the building, you ought to take a look. They're really, really nice. And Ryan, we appreciate you making that happen.
Well, it wasn't me, it was us. I want to point that out. I know, Skip, that was a project we wanted to do for a while. In the E-building, it brings me back to where we're doing some irrigation work. Skip, I don't know if you want to talk about that. There's quite a bit of trenching that's being dug up. Can you give a little bit more perspective on that?
I'll give you the Reader's Digest version. Ryan always says I talk too much. So we're doing the back of between E building and B building. That area back there is getting redone. Along the slope there, when you come from the cottages of Hope Smith going toward the woodworking shop, that area. And then we're doing irrigation by the pickleball court and there in the bocce ball court. And we'll be doing it down by the dog park, because we've got some landscape design that's going between the dog park and that and the rose garden in that area. And then we're taking the irrigation over the dam, and then we're going to be irrigating on the other side of the middle pond, as well as along Hope Smith, where we're taking those pine trees out. So we're trying to upgrade, get it on one single system here. So that's what you see I'm out there doing.
Thank you, Skip. I can take one more question. I do have to get going and help my son get to soccer practice. Anybody have a question? I have to take my turn.
There's a lot of discussion about parking over here.
In the village center area, yeah, that's where we talked about that I think our contractors right now can do a better job of parking further out. We are seeing a lot more vendors, home health and hospice, and family members come up. We've also re-educated staff to make sure they know they're not supposed to park there as well. And that's the area where we'll be adding a little bit of parking with phase 2, and once the assisted living is demolished, then we can also look at maybe adding some additional, because it will be flat space that's usable. So as we're asking more people to come up for different wellness events and different things, we do need to continue to monitor that. All right, thank you all. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it.